My favorite.
There's a little gap.
Yeah, we did 5507.
We know what we're doing.
You know, I'm not saying take it around.
Sorry. That was fun. I don't need to bang again. Let me know when you're ready. The Village of Hainesville public hearing will now come to order at 7:05 p.m. on Tuesday, April 14th, 2015. If everybody will please rise, and I'll lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Linda Soto,
Present.
trustees Jaroslawski,
Here.
Kreis,
Here.
Duberstein, here, Bailey,
Here.
and Hine.
Here.
Barrett is absent. Does this seem really loud?
Yeah.
Somebody must have been playing with this.
All right, you want a minute to address? While she's doing that, I do just want to state, I heard from Trustee Hine. I was made aware, he recently... Trustee Barrett.
Motion to adjourn.
Trustee Barrett just started a new job. He is out of state. The good news is that he's hoping that with this new employment, his schedule will get back in control and he'll be back in regular attendance. So just wanted to explain what on his behalf. Can we have a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Jaroslawski,
Aye.
Kreis,
Aye.
Duberstein, Daly,
Aye.
and Hine.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Before I continue, are we okay with the 7th?
Does it sound okay?
Sounds good here.
Okay, all right.
Better than usual.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on with our public hearing on the proposed appropriation ordinance for May 1st, 2015 through April 30th, 2016. And who gets the honors of doing the presentation, discussion?
Go ahead.
The appropriation ordinance was presented to the Finance Committee a month ago after a lot of tweaks in that, and it was presented to the board at the very last meeting. The ordinance has been posted out in our general office, or our general lobby there, for anyone to come in and review it if they needed just to look at it. The public hearing notice has been published at the Daily Herald and the time requirements. For the last time that the board has seen this till now, there's been no changes on the appropriation ordinance. What you've seen last time is the same this time. No one had any additional feedback or last minute changes, so it's the same document.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, at this time, are there any comments or questions from the public? Okay. Motion to adjourn public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we will call to order the regular board meeting
At 7:09.
Roll call.
Mayor Linda Soto,
Still here.
trustees Dernoski.
Here.
Kreis.
Here.
Duberstein. Here. Daly.
Here.
And Hein.
Here.
Barrett is still absent.
Okay, at this time we take general public comments. Is there anybody here that would like to address the board? If so, you should have filled out a green sheet and submitted it to our clerk.
I have nothing.
No takers?
And a second, are you two ladies from Mr. Rorick's class?
Yes.
Grace Lake Central students, part of which class?
Government honors.
Government honors. They've had the joy of having me in 2 of the last 3 days as their substitute.
Awesome, well, welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
I feel sorry for you too.
All right, so now will you be participating in Career Day tomorrow?
Yes,
Are you signed up for anything interesting?
doctor and I think it's athletic trainer and stuff too.
Okay. I asked because I'll be there tomorrow, but that's okay.
Okay.
And what are you signed up for?
Physical therapist and athletic training.
Awesome. Okay. Well, maybe I'll see you around. I'll look for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion for the omnibus vote agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Dernoski.
Aye.
Kreis.
Aye.
Duberstein. Daly.
Aye.
And Hein.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, at this time, we'll move on to reports and communications. We'll start with our village engineer, Greg Ruin.
Thanks, Mayor. Couple things. First is that the village has a NPDES stormwater discharge permit for all their storm sewers to discharge to the lakes, rivers, and streams of the state of Illinois. There is a annual report that's going to have to be filled out that we're going to have to complete in the next 30 to 60 days. It's an annual report, and we'll get that done shortly. The next thing, probably the biggest thing, is that for the road project for this upcoming 2015 construction season, there was a joint bid with Village of Grays Lake, Fox River Grove, Lake Moore, and Lake Villa. They opened bids on March 10th. The winning contractor was Chicago Land Paving, and their bid was for $35 a square yard. Had a favorable experience with them in the past, and instead of us, Manor Consulting, kind of recreating the wheel with another bid package and going out to bid at this time, what I've asked the mayor and Jeff and the village attorney is if it's possible for us to dovetail onto the back of this project that's already been bid. Several other communities have done this in the past. As long as you guys are comfortable with it, we can look to get a contract with Chicago Land Paving to go ahead and do the patchwork for 2015 road program. You might have seen some orange marks out in the field. I was out there with Jeff. Right now, we've marked out about 1,800 square yards of patching to be done. Total value is about $63,000. What I would recommend is that we enter into a contract with Chicago Land Paving. It'd be a unit price contract based on quantities as measured out in the field for a not to exceed value of $75,000. So that'll give us, Jeff and I, a little bit of room to mark out additional areas as we see fit.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions for Greg on that?
When are we looking to do that as a board?
Well, it would be on the next agenda,
Okay.
because Jim has got the contract language from Greg tonight to review.
Okay, thank you.
I've been in contact with Chicago Land and their schedule. If we get the contract in 2 weeks, they can start this project first week, middle of May. So we'll get it done quick this year.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, we'll move over to our attorney, Jim Rock.
Thank you, Mayor. Soto. I think the board is aware that working with village planner Al Maiden, we identified several parcels in the village that are currently being used as commercial properties, but on the zoning map are indicated as R2 zoning. And I've been working with the mayor and with Mr. Maiden, and we will be holding a public hearing later this month to clean up that zoning map issue, and then hopefully bring to the board a vote on changing, amending the map to actually coincide with the actual use of the property. In addition to that, worked on the proposed ordinance that will be discussed later tonight, not voted upon tonight, but that would change the committee structure for the village, and that's for your consideration, but again, not for a vote tonight. And that's all I have.
Question about the zoning. Saw your recommendation, I have no problem that way. But is this something that just kind of slipped by, so it should be business?
Well, no, actually, I think the zoning map, it's hard to say which came first, the cart or the horse in this, because these are properties that have been commercial for years. This is where Ovita Hair Salon is, and where it was the vacant property, it used to be a restaurant, and now it's the tax place, and they want to put the painting business in, across from Stop and Save. So this is going back when we all moved here. So the question is, was there a mistake made when the zoning map was done? Because it's such a fine line. You know, is it a scribe's error? That's the other thing that was talked about. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Any other questions before we move on?
Thank you.
Public Works Superintendent Jeff Gately.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Spring is here, it is fast approaching. That said,
Lucky you.
yes, actually I've been spending quite a bit of time in the office preparing for projects that we're going to be doing this year, as well as overseeing some projects that we're trying to get done before the new fiscal year starts. We've been on track. One of those projects you might have noticed off of Hainesville Road, just north of the ball field, Native Restoration did a bunch of clearing out of buckthorn and such. That was one that we wanted to get done before the end of the year. Came out real nice, and that actually extended over behind the homes off of Emerson Lane and in Elk Court. And these are residents, more so off of Emerson and Elk Court, that have complained to the village about growth and these things just encroaching in their yard. So obviously we want to take care of that as quickly as we could. In addition to that, Native Restoration has also been out throughout Deer Point and in Misty Hill and other areas, primarily where it backs up against residents' homes, where all of this brush and buckthorn and sandbar willow and just invasive species that have just been overgrowing. That work has been completed. There is one more phase of some trees that have to come down, of which I did receive a bid for, or a price to move some trees. So I'm researching that tomorrow as well. Obviously, we've been spending quite a bit of time with Greg on the road project upcoming, getting everything marked out. One good thing about dovetailing off of this bid with Grays Lake is we're saving quite a bit of engineering fees as well. So a lot of time, we don't have to put the notice in the paper, we don't have to put the bid packet together. So this is a really nice way to do it for this type of project. The street light fixtures, I spoke with a representative this afternoon. They are on track to be here the last week of April. We should start seeing product. I've been in contact with Eric Christensen, who's going to be doing the installation. So he actually has it on his radar. So as soon as we start receiving product, he's ready to go to get these things installed. Of interest, when I voiced my displeasure about them telling us they were shipping on March 16th, and that wasn't the case, I was able to get them to reduce the whole project cost by 7%. So that should just about cover what it's going to cost us to get the installation done. But yeah. And then We have renewed the landscape contract with Bartels that's doing the entrances. They could be out as early as next week, just depending on what the weather does. And they'll be getting all the mums out, getting the beds trimmed up, ready for the summer annuals. So they should be here within the next couple of weeks. And then just out in the field, we've got all the hydrant flags removed since the snow is gone. And just general, this is the messy time of year, garbage all over the place. So we've just been out in the field trying to get everything cleaned up. And we're working on the equipment, getting it ready for the season.
Speaking of clearing, I don't think you'd want to take this approach, but Crystal Lake has taken a new approach. We saw on the news tonight they had a controlled burn that melted the siding off 8 houses.
Oh,
They hired the wrong company.
And I can't even blame it on wind. Video on the news, it's just ugly.
I wouldn't want to be that contractor.
No. Yeah, typically I don't think they burn that close to.
Well, and on that note, I would like to mention with the recent burn that Native Restorations did in the Cranberry Lake area, there's a portion of that burn we expected to get done earlier this winter, and no surprise, we have goofier weather, it seems, each season. It just gets goofier. While we didn't have as snowy a season nearly as last year, we had a very cold winter, and it can be too cold to do a burn. And that was a problem. They tried a couple times, they couldn't get a good burn going because it was too cold. So, when they were doing the burn the other day, they got it done in all the areas with the exception the area we needed to do it the most, which is in the easement by the homes. And Dave Coulter called me and said, we feel we shouldn't do it because the wind has changed direction and it's blowing towards the house. Now, he was confident he wouldn't get the houses on fire, but he could have scorched patio furniture or whatever, and we didn't want to go there. So we hope to go back and finish that, but I feel good that Dave does make very good decisions in that regard. It's better safe than sorry. People may get annoyed, why didn't we get it in and get it, done in a timely manner? Well, we can now show them footage of melting siding in Crystal Lake. Anything else?
Oh, just one more thing. Hopefully by the next board meeting, I'm trying to come up with a new format for board meetings where everybody will have like a little report in their packets that you can read, so everybody kind of keeps it in the loop. I'm still doing some tweaking. We're going to try just to put in how many hours we're spending mowing, how many hours we're spending, just doing different projects and stuff, so you guys have a better idea.
Give you some more statistics.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to have that ready by the next board meeting, if not, it will be the first one in May.
Perfect.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move over to our police chief.
I just wanted to say, I don't know if I mentioned it here before or not, but we carry Narcan in our squad cars now, which is basically a reversal agent for opiates and heroin. All our officers are certified in its use. So if there's ever an emergency, usually it's a CPR event and an Narcan event. If they're both together, we keep everything together. All our officers have them, and all our officers are trained in it. So sometimes we get there before the ambulance, so we can help out a little bit. I know Round Lake Park just had a save last week with it, or about a month ago, I guess now, with it. There's been several areas saved with it. So there is a heroin problem out here in Lake County, and not that it's usually our residents, but occasionally we have people pass through in cars and things like that, and we find them on the side of the road or whatever. So we are all trained in that, and we do have the equipment. Met with the state's attorney last week. We had a very good conversation about Rays Lake and Hainesville, and about where our importance is with the state's attorney's office. And it turns out we're very important with the state's attorney.
Excellent, good to hear.
He's a really good guy, very helpful. They're instituting some new ideas to try and modernize things a little bit over Skype. Eventually, he wants to get to the point of bond hearings and things like that, so our officers can stay in town. We can do bond hearings actually from our location to their location.
Oh, terrific.
So It's in the works, I don't know how long it's gonna take or anything like
Yeah,
that.
but what a
It's
time
definitely-
saver that would be.
it's definitely on his radar screen, so. We had the big storms last week, we fared very well, no damage, couple big puddles, it was it, we're very lucky. North and west of us, not so lucky.
Well, we had our lightning strike.
We did, we did have, actually, there was 2 that day, there was one on the other side around Lake also. Pretty rare for something that close, 2 lightning strikes in houses, but.
We had a structure fire, that's what we're talking about, folks.
Yeah.
We did have a structure fire. Thankfully, nobody was hurt.
It was relatively significant, there was fire through the roof when we got there. So, yeah, it worked out okay, but there's a significant amount of damage to the home. So, but the occupants are okay. And then the trustee Barrett was out at the scene with me, so I believe he briefed me. And that's about all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions for the chief?
Was that in Hainesville or Grace Lake?
It was Hainesville.
Hainesville.
Hainesville, in the back of Deer Point. Okay. Kelly, do you have anything you want to add from the treasurer area?
Most of my items are listed below, but just of note, the county clerk's office did their assessed valuation of the village, and we got our final certificate of our real estate taxes. And well, our EAV for the village of Hainesville dropped almost $3 million from 2013 to 2014. With the drop of that, it also creates a drop in our what we were anticipating on real estate taxes. I put in the budget, I was being a little bit conservative, even though what I estimated what we can maybe get. I budgeted $458,000 for our real estate taxes. That includes the police and our general. And I was notified that we will get $416,871. So we have a $41,200 reduction. I did update that on the agenda item for the estimate of revenue. So we are short a little bit more. So just we got to be a little bit more cautious in our spending in the next couple of budgets.
We'll be cautious. Yeah.
I'll address it tonight.
Okay, thank you. Village clerk, Kathy Metzler.
Hello. Roseanne and I are working on business license renewals, and we have half of them in. May 1st is the deadline. And then I also have worked on a public hearing for the zoning changes, sent out cards, worked with the attorney on the notice. And then just getting ready for our May training, been listening and watching to BSNA videos and watching those to get ready for the training.
Tell them what that is. Computer training.
Oh, computer training for new software. And so I'm working also with Jenny with all my business license forms and stuff, sending everything to her. I'm gonna make some changes on the business license, so it'll be easier for, yeah, all of us. So, looking forward to it.
Okay, we'll move on to the mayor's report. I'm going to start with our recent election that took place on April 7th. And this is a local election, not only for our municipality, but our local school boards, park district, library. And because there are local boards, these are boards that make decisions that really affect you and your families on a daily basis. They have direct impact on your tax bill. And as much as I try to cry this from the mountaintop, I continue to get frustrated with the voter turnout. In Hainesville, Avon Precinct 41, so that would be homes within the Grays Lake schools in Park District, we have 1,207 registered voters, 189 ballots were cast. Avon Precinct 40, which is the section of Hainesville that is in Round Lake Schools and Park District, we have 694 registered voters and 46 ballots were cast. So I'm not saying this to scold anyone, I'm trying to send a message. People, I get calls from you. You want changes in schools. You want things from your park district, from your libraries. You have to help yourself. You have to help us. The board and I will talk to them. We will give a message. But there is another way for them to look at it. Who is on that board, number one, making decisions? And they do look at what the strength is coming from different areas and precincts. And so somebody's going to say, you know what, your precinct doesn't even care, obviously. So I'm sorry, they're going to put more oil where the squeak is. So people, please register to vote and vote. Local elections are very, very important. On that note, we don't have final results, so I can't give official congratulations, but the top 3 vote takers at this time are Dina Beth Hine, Kevin J. Barrett, and George Duberstein. Mark Typlin, though, is following behind George by 6 votes. And the provisional votes aren't necessarily in, we don't know, so the clerk will not receive word till next week, I believe on the 22nd, that the vote is official, and then official congratulations can be given. But please note that in May, instead of meeting the second Tuesday, we will meet the first Tuesday, May 5th, and that's when they will be sworn into office, so mark your calendars. And also, the newsletter was just printed and is going out in the mail. We have a fun event coming up. Our thriving craft beer specialty shop, Beer Bazaar, is celebrating their 1-year anniversary, and they're having a small, intimate craft beer festival that will take place at Union Square Park. This is their event. They will have ample parking between their plaza and Russo, similar to what it happens during the Russo auction. And they are going to have a shuttle bus that transports people to the park area. They are also giving a free ticket to a designated driver. Everybody must be 21. They will be banded. The designated drivers will have a different color band, so they will not be served under any circumstance. So go to our website. You can find the link on there, or you can go directly to Beer Bazaar's website or Facebook and find out all the information there. This Thursday, I'll be attending the Route 53 120 Land Use Committee meeting. As you know, we recently finished with finance, and our report is in the hands of the Tollway Authority Board. So we will now be wrapping up the land use work. We plan or hope to have that done by the end of summer, so I'll keep you posted on that. We'll move on to the standing committees, starting with finance. Trustee Daly.
Following up on Kelly's statement about the reduction of revenue, we had some choices to make. One route we could have taken is trim $41,000 off our projected budget. The decision that was made after discussion with the mayor and Kelly and the finance committee is that we're going to sit back and wait until after the audit. We should have audit results by September. Hopefully by September. And at that point, we're going to look at 2 different things. One, if we're in a position, we may just be able to foot the cost, just continue with the projects. I asked the board members tonight, that are chairs of various committees, to look at their projects and prioritize them. And if some can be delayed, the starting date or starting point can be delayed, to do so until later in the fiscal year. Obviously, there are some projects out there that are weather related and will have to start earlier. That way, if some are delayed and after the audit we find out we don't have the money, we'll just stop the project. The other thing that we may look at, or we will look at that point, is whether or not we pay off the Public Works building. That loan is due in January, and it's about $293,000. We could refinance if necessary, and if we do refinance, we free up that $293,000 to help us with our other encumbrances. So right now, it's on hold. We're taking a conservative approach. The other issue is that the Finance Committee in their meeting tonight discussed staff raises. No decision was made, but we hope to have a recommendation to the board either at the next meeting or the following meeting. That's it.
All right, thank you. Public Works, Trustee Crease.
Thank you, Mayor. Our last meeting, Public Works meeting last Wednesday, there's a lot of discussion, Jeff, mentioned about patching and the lights. But also at that meeting, we also were discussing our water costs. And I'm conducting kind of a survey of what's being spent on, or what the cost is within the surrounding area, and sending up a recommendation, basically, on what we might be able to do to increase our revenue and on water for other projects in the future for capital funding program. So we also talked at that meeting was also the fact that what we're pumping, okay, is not what we're building. And Kelly's mentioned this a couple of times, and we're losing some water in some places. According to Terry Graham from Robertson, he says that 10% is kind of the average of loss that you have within a month in pumping. We're getting close to that. So what Jeff and I and Terry came up with is that most of our water meters are kind of getting a little bit older. So the suggestion was made that we're going to be pulling water meters out and having them tested to see whether they're actually recording what they should be recording.
A test number, right? A test number, right?
Right. So and this way we'll see whether that's the case. Because last year we did have that water leak on the front, and we had which company was that, Jeff? They came out and looked.
Emmy Simpson came out.
Came out and looked pretty much at what our mains and everything else would, and that was the only thing that they found. So we have to look at somewhere else, or we just have any leaks, little leaks that aren't showing up right now.
Also in that pumped water that isn't counted, isn't billed, is hydrant flushing.
Right.
Any use of the fire hydrants, if we have a fire or whatever, that water is just pumped, not billed.
Right. Well, the thing is, what we have been noticing for the past 2 months is it's still up there about 7 or 8%. And there was a discussion going on, but now all of a sudden we have.
And we're certainly not watering yet. So.
Right. So that's why it kind of is a
Yeah.
concern, but it's not that much of a concern. If we can maybe see what's happening.
I mean, do we wash down the equipment a lot? I mean, I know we wash it down in the winter. Last winter, we had to be washing stuff all the time, but how about this year?
Well, this year we did, but next door, that building is on its own.
Oh, that's right.
So
Okay.
it doesn't,
So, yeah, you're right.
it doesn't affect.
It doesn't affect it. I'm just trying to think where else it's going.
Yeah, I know this month we're down, or last month we're down again.
Right.
So I don't understand why, 1 month we're looking at 500,000 gallons of, difference.
We have a water leakage.
Now we're at 290, so there's a component somewhere. If something's leaking, it's gonna keep leaking.
Yeah, right.
It should
be,
keep
yeah,
increasing, it shouldn't be
up and down.
high
Yeah.
and low, so
Yeah. Okay.
we're looking into it. I mean, the meters are getting older, and as they get older, they go slower. So.
Well, it'll be high again because we had a fire.
Oh, it will be,
Yeah.
yeah. But in the general sense of things, if the meters, if you're not using a lot of water December through February, and the meter's turning slower, and now everybody's starting to use a little more water, maybe it's not going as slow. Maybe the meters are less effective with slower usage.
And what's the lifespan on a meter?
They tell you 20 to 25 years, give or take, you should start thinking about replacing. So we're getting real close. Some of them are probably just pushing 20 years right now.
So it's worth doing a small test.
It's worth to do a small test just to see, is that the revenue source that we're losing? Well, we'll be losing money as well, not even,
Right.
pump versus bill. That also increases, said revenue. So, I think it's worth testing a few of them just to see how accurate they are, and then if we decide that, it's something we want to do, we'll talk about it and proceed.
And you're getting a quote from?
Yeah, Terry
Terry's
Jones,
getting a
had a
quote
company
to do the test.
that he was going to get a hold of.
He said that that company would give us a quote, actually to take out the meters, bypass them, check them out, repair them, put them back, reinstall them. So we wouldn't be doing anything other than giving them the.
Do we know, how long does something like that take?
He said it doesn't take very long, so, maybe a couple of weeks or whatever, 30 or 40 of them.
Okay.
And that's what our goal, what we're looking at right now is probably about 30 of them go throughout different sections of the village community to make sure that we, get a pretty good understanding of where it might be, whether that section or this section would be. So, but like I said, he said he recommended this company. He's done some work with other municipalities with that. So, that's about it.
A question. Did we put in new water meters a few years ago, or was it that you were upgrading them with being able to read them without?
That was the reading portion of it. We went to the electronic or the radio.
The radio read.
Yeah, so that really didn't change the meter. We actually did look and pulled a couple of meters at that time. So this was probably, I think it's getting close to 10 years since we started that. Seems like yesterday, but.
Check out those different type meters.
Yeah.
What did you ask?
Whether there were a vein type meter or not. So in other words, it has to turn, they're modest meters, they're not vain.
They're
Not like you, Jared. I can't help it. And that's not it, that's my report.
Well, I'm gonna come right back to you, because now we're gonna hit you up for public safety.
Public safety, not much right now, waiting for the police report, which, so that's about,
We're still having our computer issue with the world.
okay, but, and.
Should I call Mike Ellis and just start yelling and screaming? Will that help you out?
I probably won't help me out.
It was a great job that the fire department and the police department did on the fire, or even though it went up pretty quickly, but it was pretty hot.
Went quick, the response was quick.
And,
We heard the sirens, the next thing I knew, Jeff was calling me saying, I just want to let you know I'm over here because the fire department's here, we have a structure fire.
So it was a great job. So, also that we're gonna have a public safety meeting in 2 weeks, the 28th.
Okay.
And that's about it.
I have some things to talk to you about. I haven't had a chance to do it before. I took a walk from my house on the west side of Hainesville Road to Walgreens yesterday and back. And finally, one car stopped going south. And so I started out and I put up my hand so the one that's going north stopped. Coming back, nobody stopped at all. I don't know whether the light disappeared and it took so long before. I only could go because there were no cars at all. And I looked at the light tonight as we were coming back, and I remember other places where the lights are around the edge of the sign, the rectangular sign, and I think that they would be much more showy because those two little things underneath, during the day you can hardly see them, and that's when most people are going to be crossing the road during the day to come over to Cranberry Lake to walk around. So I was just concerned that maybe we could find some other kind of lights to go there. I know you've done that so long.
When we looked into it, they didn't have the ones around. Usually those are stop signs, that they have the lights around.
Don't the ones on 120 by the school have the lights around?
The LEDs are just.
Yeah.
Oh, around the perimeter. Okay.
Not on the stop, but on the.
The recommendation was this one, when we looked into this, was this one had the greatest effect on people's.
I think what we need to do is have an honor system where we have a bucket that has the paddles with the stop signs and a flashing wand, and you can cross the street.
The whole thing, and what I'm kind of getting all out of this, because we went to Lake County before we even put these in.
Yes.
And we're trying to get more signage, we're trying to get everything. And it looks like people, I'm not sure if they're not educated to what that actually means. they think that maybe that pedestrian crossing is within the mall area and that's it, you know, that sidewalk and that's about it. They don't realize that. And anytime you see a pedestrian crossing, that person has a right to walk through and you're supposed to stop for it. And I think that's where the education we need, probably more than anything, with the signage that we're trying to get up there. And
I think you're right. And we had that conversation with the Lake County Department of Transportation. I'm still not sure what the result of that was. I've heard nothing since, so.
Well, they can't lower the speed limit. Well, I should say if they start the
They don't want
construction, well, when they start the construction, they're gonna temporarily reduce the speed limit. And then we're gonna take a look at what impact that has. So that will be coming. They'll be reducing the speed limit.
And we will be having those signs in the middle of the street this
Yes,
summer.
yes, the summer. Yeah, well, even spring, like spring,
Yeah,
as soon as the
so
weather's
that
nice.
may help.
I don't even know, did it come yet?
Yeah, I have it.
You have it? Okay.
And who's gonna walk out there and put those puppies out in the middle of the street in that traffic?
That would be Public Works.
Thank you.
We just need to clarify, because I believe they can only be out during daylight hours.
It is, that's true. However,
I would put it out Friday night and pick it up Monday morning.
that's
If it's still
entirely up to you, but yes, they're enforceable.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't even say that. It's, the law is the law. It's whether there's a sign out there or not. If there's a pedestrian or roadway, you have to yield to them. That is the law in a designated crosswalk. I think part of the problem is yellow lights versus red lights, stopping for pedestrians, and the type of sign that is out there just shows that it's a pedestrian crossing and doesn't really say stop for pedestrians. And I know those special signs that say stop for pedestrians create sort of a hazard also, in that there are a lot of confused drivers that come to those signs because there's a little stop sign in there that says the stop sign for pedestrians, and they stop, whether there's pedestrians or not, which in turn creates another issue. So I think we sort of like half discussed where we wanted to be with Lake County DOT.
Well, the only thing that Lake County DOT agreed to, and in fact, I was late in sending out an email, so I may even got a reply, but they are supposed to move the signs that tell you there's a crossing up ahead. So that they still need to do. That hasn't been done. We agreed we were going to try this, at least on the weekends, with the portable sign that goes in the middle of the road. And the biggest thing that the county said that they would do is reduce the speed limit temporarily for the construction. And then we would monitor what impact that had. Because part of my argument has been, and I think you agree, is that certainly reducing the speed would certainly help. Because coming along at 40, if you're going 40, you're easily going 45. That comes up on you pretty quick. So let's see. The weather's almost here. Let's see what the reduced speed limit does.
Mayor, did you guys ask why on Washington, down by just Woodland, yeah, why that one has the sign with the stop? And it's a pedestrian crossing?
We didn't ask that particular question about that particular, but we did ask about the sign. And
I've asked that question at the transportation meeting. There is formulas for if it's by a school and how many driveways that face out and all these other things that have to do with speed limit and placements of signs. I don't agree with it, but that is from the state of Illinois code or highway IDOT regulations, which Lake County DOT has to follow. So it's not just Lake County DOT. Lake County DOT says they have to follow that same rule. That's for the entire state of Illinois. The other thing is because of this pedestrian law and these walkways going up, since the change in law in 2004, people still don't understand what they're supposed to do. So that's the biggest problem. So now people like Lake County DOT don't want to put any more of these up if they don't have to, because they feel it is providing residents with a false sense of safety, because they don't feel that there's any measures they can do short of having a true traffic light that is going to give them a safe crossing.
And then,
So, the other side of the coin, where does that bring us, is to lobby against, for IDOT to change their regs, which I'm not saying we can't do, but it is a long road to hoe, and it's not going to obviously change anything that's gonna change that for the summer.
right, we can't put our own signs up is what the issue is. So we have to go by that municipal code that they have now, MUT.
MUTCD,
That's the one.
I
So,
read that thing like 5 times. I don't know.
right, and that's the whole reason for the speed limit's governed by the same thing. There's just not enough access drives and cross streets for them to lower the speed limit to exactly where we want it, so we have to work on it a little bit. The construction could make it happen.
How about we just cut a couple of driveways?
Well, I think that's all we can do for tonight, so if there's no other comments, I'd like to move on. All right, let's go to wetlands, open spaces, and also the Great Age Club with trustee Duberstein.
Okay, if you recall, the Lake County DOT came and talked with us about moving the lift station and that they were going to do some landscaping around it. And at that time, we talked with representatives and mentioned that there were areas that were owned by Lake County that were in Hainesville, near the bike path, where there was a lot of invasive species. So last week, we had a meeting with Lake County DOT and their maintenance person, and they're willing to take out the invasive species, and if it leaves a lot of empty space, that they would replace it with native species, and that they would put out a bid to native restoration companies to bid on doing the work. So I was very excited that they were cooperative and willing to help us in our efforts to make Hainesville a native plant community. The other thing is that the need for a cleanup of the village is coming up, and the date hasn't been set for the...
Well, we can discuss it, Georgianne. April 25th is the day you're talking about. Of course, that's 10 days away almost, 10 or 11, 10 and a half days away. We don't always get a big turnout from the residents anyway, so do we have any student groups that we've contacted in the past that would be available in that time frame?
Well, I'm going to contact both of the advisors for the National Honor Society and see if they could come, because we did it late in June last year to coordinate with the electronics recycling, and by then the grasses were so tall that you really couldn't see all the stuff that needed to be cleaned up, so this is why we're trying to do it early enough to be able to get at it. So that was the plan, and I will contact the schools tomorrow.
And I'll be at Grays Lake Central tomorrow for the career day, so I will ask. I know the problem will be with this date for anybody, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, maybe you can give me some input. I know there's a lot of sports activities that weekend, but if there's other groups, honor students that aren't in athletics or something like that, then they might be able to participate. But we'll be up against athletics.
The teacher you need to talk to is Dustin Cherico, Cherico.
Okay.
What's his program called, ladies?
PSP.
PSP.
Oh, PSP, yes, I remember PSP.
What is that?
Oh, what is it, public service? Service, yeah, it's like a class where you have like a community class, and we do like the, food drive, and then we do like the school talent shows, and we do all those stuff.
I'm trying to think what the acronym stands for. Public service what? Something, yeah. Practicum, public service practicum.
And for National Honor Society, I know I'm in it, and I know that a lot, there's many that aren't in sports right now, so.
Okay.
it might be-
Who's your supervisor for
National Honor Society, Mr. Howe. And Miss Mitchell.
How spell his name?
Mr. Barry, I don't know why I said.
H-A-U-G.
No, sorry, Mr. Barry, I don't know why I said.
Yeah, I was gonna
Wait,
say that.
wait.
Yeah, and
So
Barry is the one
You
that.
have his name. You have his name. Okay, okay.
Who's this other one?
And then
Justin Cherico.
Cherico.
And then Lori Mitchell too.
The Beer Bazaar Craft Beer Festival will be that day, but I don't think it'll matter. It's 1 to 5.
Right, and we'll be doing it 9 to 12 or 9.
Right, you'll be done by 1.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you finish the cleanup and go over and
Well, we're not sending high school students, are we?
Better that way than the other way around.
Look at the chief, schedule extra officers.
And the Great Age Club has a lot of tours that they have scheduled. On Sunday, there are 14 of us in a 15-passenger van going to Schaumburg to a Seniors Follies at the Performing Arts Center in Schaumburg. They have seniors that put on like a variety show.
Oh.
And they have to audition, so I figure they aren't going to play the spoons. They do it really, really well. And then we'll have lunch. So that's this Sunday, and then there's going to be a tour of Stevenson's estate on May 5th. So we're going to be busy out and about.
Sounds great. Okay, we will move on to broadcast media manager, trustee Garanowski.
Well, we had a very busy time on the YouTube site. We were up 16 views over last month, so we had a total of 45 views. We were actually up minutes watched of the board meetings, so we were up 118 minutes, which was actually pretty good considering last month we were up as well. So, and most people are viewing it at least 7 minutes and 24 seconds on